Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Greats, and today we're bringing you from airwaves to wedding aisles. Our next guest, he keeps Central New York moving as the energetic host of KISS FM's night show and the man behind countless memorable events. He proves that you don't need substances in your life to be the life of the party. He's a theater performer, community advocate, a passionate defender of all things Utica, one of the founding members of Party of Five, and the voice that keeps our region dancing. His name is Kris Majka, but you probably know him as DJ Roscoe Red, and we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this high-energy conversation we had with Kris. All right, so anytime someone puts on their questionnaire that they send in that this is a good story, we're going to start there.
All right.
So DJ Roscoe Red, you say it's a good story, how you got that name. Let's hear it.
Yeah, okay. So it's a very long, random story, but so I'm from Sequoia. I'm from the area, born and raised, and I went to Mohawk Valley Community College for their animation program to start off. So, of course, it's a great program for not that much money, so kids from all over the state, even out of state, go there to start their animation, you know. Lucky me, I grew up in Sequoia, just over the hill. I was like 7 minutes away. I didn't need to go to orientation, but there's a lot of kids that were staying in the dorms, you know, so they got to meet each other all ahead of time. So I come in on the first day, and lo and behold, there's 4 other Chris's in my one class alone, and then there was another class with another 2 of them. So, you know, you get into animation and like an artsy field, you get a lot of like very quirky people, like big personality people, you know, creative people. So when I said my name was Kris, instantly 2 of the people that I made friends with off the bat, their names were Beth and Kelly. And they were like, nope, not another Kris. We can't do another Kris. We got to come up with a nickname for you. And it just became like a running joke for that first week. And I started throwing stuff out like, you know, well, I'm used to being called Majka because I played hockey and everybody calls each other their last names. So you could call me that. Or I think I said first, you could call me K-Ris. That's you know.
Were the other Chris's with a K or a C?
There was no other Chris's with a K,
All
so
right.
that's why I was like, you could call me K-Ris, and they're like, no, that's stupid. And then I brought up, well, you could call me Majka because I'm used to that. They're like, no, that's even worse. I'm like, oh, geez, okay, I'll drop it for now. And kind of the way animation classes work, it's, you know, the art classes. So you do a lecture for an hour and a half, then you do a lab for another hour and a half. So this was during the first week where we're learning the basics of the 3D modeling program. And Professor Pieko's up there telling a story. So we're in the lab portion now. So he taught us how to make a ball bounce or something, and we were all just working on it. And animation classes are cool because some kids are kind of working on their own, some are working together, some are listening to music, some are just, you know, goofing around. Like, it's a very free-flowing, creative atmosphere, which is really a cool program to be part of. So Professor Pieko's up in front telling a story that pertains to what we're working on somehow. Some people are listening, some aren't. And I'm sitting with Beth and Kelly. Beth and I are next to each other. Kelly's kind of kitty corner behind me over here. Side note, Kelly ended up working for Marvel as a storyboard artist. So really talented, biggest personality in the room. She was a lot of fun to be around back then. So, but she was like dialed in, listening to music, you know, working on something. And Beth and I were helping each other. And as soon as Professor Pieko gets to the climax of his story, like the whole punchline, Beth slams her fist on the counter. Her pen goes flying and hits this metal thing, makes a loud noise. Everybody just turns around, whips around. She stands up and goes, Roscoe, that's your fucking name, you know, like, and points right at me. And just because of the way it all happened, like, it just, everybody just laughed. And it was one of those you had to be there moments, you know. And it stuck. There was Roscoe.
Why Roscoe?
I guess it was a lyric or something in a song she was listening to. That's from what I remember. That's what. And that random moment has shaped like my whole business now, you know, so that it just stuck. I was known in the AB building at MVCC as Roscoe. In the art department, I was Roscoe. If I was out with some of my friends from high school in the lunch area or a different building, I was Kris. But if I was in there, I didn't answer to Kris because I knew they were talking to one of the others, you know? So it was
I'm
crazy.
thinking Roscoe Blue or Roscoe Black got upset about this, and that's why you had to become Roscoe Red?
Well, then like fast forwarding, so like after I finished at MV, I then transferred to Alfred State for the 4-year, and some of the kids came with me for the same reason. So it didn't stick as well out in Alfred, but it still did in the animation department. But then that's where I discovered the radio station. Now, I had been in the theater. I like performing and all this stuff. I always thought radio was like that would be a really cool job. And they had a student-run radio station where you could just apply and have a 2-hour show once a week. I was like, why not? And I just wanted to get involved. I was excited to be there. I was getting involved in everything I could. And the cool thing was to have a DJ name, not just be like, so DJ Roscoe. Like that was a thing that I already kind of answered to. It was becoming second nature to me. And I just kind of ran with that. And then the ball started rolling there, whereas I started getting events and I started kind of figuring out that I like getting people up and on their feet and I was good at it. And I started, just immersing myself in it. And that's when I reached out to KISS when I was home one summer and got an internship and made an impression there. And then the ball just started rolling. I added red later because it's my favorite color. It's the color I always wore. It was like my logo. Yeah. It was the color I always wore when I was DJ Roscoe. So, and I realized that there were other DJ Roscoes out there.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I Googled, there's like one in California. There's one in Europe. So I was like, I don't want to get rid of it because I already had like a little bit of a Facebook following. So I was like, how can I? So I just added the red, Roscoe Red. It's alliteration. It's nice. It rolls off the tongue. It's memorable. And the rest is history. So that's kind of where it comes from. Yeah.
You're high energy, man.
Hey,
Yeah.
I gotta be. It's my job.
And the brand, the Roscoe Red, and looking at some of your headshots and some of the pictures you've done, the red plays nice. So it all comes together.
It ended up being like the perfect marketing because they say names with alliteration are more memorable, and then red is the most popular color to use in marketing because it sticks out, it draws your eye to it. I didn't even do it on purpose. It just kind of all fell into place and it's nice. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into what you do now. You do radio. You have the night show.
Mm-hmm.
You also do weddings.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Yeah, the full-time job at KISS. I'm the KISS night show host, 6 to 10 p.m. weekday nights, 97.9, 105.5 KISS FM. Been doing that for a while. And then I run my DJ business on the side, which is, weddings, birthday parties, school dances, grad parties, anything that needs music. I've been doing that for a long time. Got a full wedding booked, full summer booked of weddings this year, which is great. So, and that side business took off like right away, which was great. It was a great problem to have, but I just like getting people on their feet, and I'm very interactive when it comes to DJing.
I can tell.
I like getting out there and dancing with everybody and getting everybody out of their shell, and especially at school dances, I'll go out with the kids and do some of the line dances and like just get right in there with them. Sometimes if they do a dance circle, I'll pop in there and they all go nuts because I know some cool dance moves. I'm getting a little too old for some of them now though, but I get sore the next day. But no, I think that's what helped me right in the beginning was that I stood out that way.
Yeah.
I like to have fun. I want my guests to have fun and for it to be a memorable night for them. And that's the kind of the standard I keep myself to.
So weird question, but do you consider yourself like a local celebrity?
A lot of people like to throw that term around for me. I hate using that because one, it just makes you feel like you're you're blowing yourself up, But like I've worked hard to make a good reputation and get my name out there. And the cool thing is 9 times out of 10, when I meet somebody new and I tell them what I do and they're like, you work at KISS FM. What do you do? I'm on air. Who are you? Roscoe Red. Oh, I know who you are. Yeah. So it happens more often than not. And that's just really cool. Like using the term celebrity, I don't feel like I've earned that. Yeah. Local celebrity, whatever you want to use.
Fair enough. The reason I ask and the question behind the question, you mentioned, I guess the question is how much of an impact did KISS have on your other businesses? Was that a huge advantage to be like, hey, I'm the DJ on KISS FM?
Yeah, it was a kind of a perfect storm because I started building my business as I was starting part-time on there. So it just they kind of fed each other, right? So when I do a good event, people have fun and they remember me and they're like, oh, he said he was on KISS FM. Now they're going to listen to the station more. Or people that know me from the station, it gives me the credibility to like, well, he works at KISS FM. But, like he'd be a good person to have and people know. And so they kind of, they feed each other. Like I said, it's in like a nice cyclical, whatever you want to
You do the weekly night show.
Mm-hmm.
You do weddings and proms
on weekends.
What do you ever have free time?
During the summer, not really. Because then,
he's in a band, which we'll get to.
Yeah, I know.
Well.
I'm reading all this and listening to you, and I'm like, do you ever just no? You don't seem like you rest.
My weekday nights are usually my nights where it's this kind of chill. That's where I try to get dinner with friends and this, that, and the other thing. But Sundays are usually my days of like nothing going on. But yeah, there's those. That's work. I'm in a band. I like to do that sometimes. I like to do theater sometimes.
There's just a lot.
I like creating. I like doing it. So
10 years in radio, obviously probably the most volatile, biggest changes we've seen in a 10-year window in radio.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen over that time? Where is that industry going? How's it evolved? What changes have you had to make?
Well, it's less about, I guess, like the audience interaction. Like, they used to always say, call in and request and blah, blah, blah. You don't really get that anymore. People are still listening. Don't get me wrong. As soon as we have some sort of giveaway that people are interested, those phone lines light right up. So people are listening. Radio's free. It's always going to be there, right? I still, when I meet kids, they know who it is, who I am, and what radio is, and this, that, and the other thing. It might not be as potent because there's Spotify, there's the internet, like there's just so many other alternatives now too. I guess what I have seen is that the music taste when it comes to doing events is so dispersed now. Like there's new songs don't really have, every once in a while, yes, but new songs don't really have that cultural impact where everybody knows this song now. And like, you go to, I do school dances and some kids might request stuff that we're playing on the radio. Some kids are requesting stuff that I've never heard of before, but all the kids know it, you know?
So how do you stay in tune with that?
Well, you take the requests and if I get 2, 3, or 4 requests of a same song, okay, this one's worth playing because like I'm getting it from a lot of kids. But ironically, the funny thing that I'm noticing is that even when I do middle school dances, most of the requests are the 90s and 2000s hip hop and R&B, the stuff I grew up with, and it's not really changing because
it's better.
Yeah, and I mean, and that proves it, right? Because that's the one thing. Like, I'm finding it more and more rare for me to hear a new song that comes to Kiss FM and be like, oh, I like that, I got to download it. It's just not hitting like it used to, at least in my opinion.
And some kids are playing the same song over and over
that's
and
no
over
different.
and over again.
We did that too.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, and a lot of those new songs are just recycled beats from the 90s now. Like that's all I'm seeing. So, and it's just that's the when the good dance music was, and that clearly is still what works for most kids, and especially weddings. Like it's all 90s, 2000s. There's some gems from today, sure, but it's just, you can't go wrong with the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Britney Spears and all the early 2000s hip hop. Like that's what makes a good dance party, is that stuff, So let's talk about community involvement. Sure. You are part of the Catalyst, right? Yep. Talk a little bit about what that is if people don't know. Of course, yeah. So Catalyst, the Catalyst Young Professionals Group it's under the Utica Chamber of Commerce. So what it is it's a group of young professionals that our goal is to get people under 40 engaged in the community. So we're kind of like the fun offshoot of the Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. So we plan meetups, we plan events, we just try to get people engaged, and our whole thing is like anybody who is under 40 years old and works for a company that is part of the Utica Chamber of Commerce is a Catalyst member. Okay. I am on the steering committee, which is 15 people. Like we're the ones who kind of decide what we want to do, what events we want to put on, this, that, and the other thing. And I actually just got promoted to the membership officer, so it's kind of my job to, if we have an open seat, to recruit somebody in. And I kind of have been in charge of making all of our meetups, which are just laid-back events where anybody who is a young professional and wants to be around more like-minded people, maybe rather than going out to a bar, right? So which is kind of more my speed. We put on events for people that want to come and meet more people like that. We just met up at Silk, which was a great one. We had about 50 people show up. Wow. It was fantastic. So, and Catalyst is really starting to build up too, and our name is starting to get out there, which is great. So, well, because young people, like, where do they go? Where do they go to meet? And this is awesome. Well, and that's what's crazy is that's how a lot of kids are meeting each other are through these
apps or websites or so the fact that we have something like this in the area is huge.
Yeah.
And the thing that's becoming more and more common is kids are not drinking as much as they used to.
I
you wanna
love
talk
seeing
a little
it.
bit about that?
Yeah. So I don't drink. I never have. I don't even know what it feels like to be drunk. And being a DJ, and you tell people that, I always get the, you know, like they
shocked face.
What? You know, so yeah, I definitely am an outlier of like the stereotype there. But I guess what started me off with that is I grew up. I've always been a very picky eater. I don't like carbonation, so I never liked soda. That kind of kept me away from it in the beginning. And then when I first got to college, at Alfred State, yeah,
which limited things to do in Alfred. I've been to Hornell, New York.
It's a school out there in the middle of nowhere in southwestern New York.
Hot dog weekend? Do they still do that?
That's awesome that you know that. That's amazing. Yeah, so
we've been to a couple.
Yeah, they just did it this past weekend. Was Hot Dog Day. So, but yeah, like you said, it's a very rural area. There's not much to do other than going out and drinking and partying. It's a SUNY school. It's what they're known for. But luckily I made some good friends that were, not that they didn't drink, but they just weren't heavy into it and they prefer to do other things. And I just noticed friends that I made when they did drink become somebody different. And it's something I guess just clicked with me. Like, that's just not for me. I just don't, I don't need to do it. And 9 times out of 10, when I tell people I don't drink or smoke, I get nothing but respect for it, you know, but there's been a couple times where somebody got upset and self-conscious and started made me feel bad about not being drunk. And like, I just feel self-conscious that you're sober. I'm like, okay, then I'll leave.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you said, you know, drink or smoke, because I know the naysayers, when people hear that, they're like, oh, he doesn't drink. Well, he must get high all the time.
No.
Yeah.
You know, so
I don't know what it feels like to be high or drunk.
Wow.
Nor do you need to, because your
you are
energy,
high on life,
man.
man.
Like,
And that's, you know, and and going back to the point is I'm starting to see more and more people turn to it.
Becoming more and more.
And it's fantastic.
Yep.
I absolutely love it, because that's what I always tell people is that you don't need it. Like, I understand that it helps you kind of lower your inhibitions. It lets you kind of get rid of your anxiety a little bit. It makes you, it's a social lubricant is what they say.
Yeah,
I get that, because there's definitely times where I find myself in situations where I don't really know anybody and I'm very like,
anxious.
You're a human.
But I don't need a substance to get, you know, and I kind of can get myself out of that. But there's a lot of friends and people that I've had to kind of move away from because they rely on it too much.
In your business, I'm sure you've seen some really stupid shit, for being honest, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've seen a lot of good
weddings.
stuff.
Oh my gosh.
I could tell you some stuff.
I'm sure you could. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But I do want to stay with, I love what you're doing with Catalyst, and specifically under 40, because it's not just, I don't want to paint just younger generation, because and I see it with adults too, where we're glued to our phones, right? We're digitally distracted. We're not present with the people in front of us.
Something I've had to be a lot better about. That's
all
for sure.
Of us, right? And so you know, this has been tough. We have 3 children, all teenagers, and you know, where's the line, right? We're like not at the dinner table, or everyone's going to agree to put their phone down for an hour so we can be present and play a game or whatever. But I guess what I'm driving at here is networking is not natural for most people. Like, you are different. You're an outlier. I think you know this, right?
I still,
you're just comfortable. We can tell, right? But most people aren't. So the younger generation, networking, it just seems very difficult. So how do you guys, with the Catalyst group and now being a part of the membership committee, like, what are you doing to make this easier for people?
Well, we're trying to get everything like streamlined. Like, we're trying to have it all in one place, like an easy place to find stuff to do, right? So that's why I love the group, because we're not only doing our own events, but we partner with other people like Munson for their After Dark events, like to try to get them out there and promote them to people that, you know, want to go to an event where that's not intimidating, where there's not stupid stuff going on, you know, where it's good people having good fun. And I'm sorry, what was the question again?
No, just how do you make networking more natural or inviting to people who aren't comfortable, more introverted?
Yeah. So, well, and then with those events, like when people show up, is like, be welcoming, you know, just make them feel at home. Like, so that's one reason I think why I got the membership, you know, seat, was because CJ really saw that, like, I'm good with people, and I, when people come to our events, if we haven't seen their face before, I go, hey, how's it going? I'm Kris. I'm the membership. Like, can I answer any questions for you? Like, come meet this person. And I just try to break the ice for people, which helps because, it's tough to just walk up to somebody on your own. But if you have someone just to be like, hey, this is so-and-so, they're from this.
Yes.
That's it. That's all they need because now you started a conversation.
You're a facilitator.
Yeah.
You're a facilitator of an event. And even when you get to I taught elementary school for 20 years. And you try to teach this to kids. If you see somebody that looks like they're sad or uncomfortable, or what should you do? You should approach them and bring them in and try and make them feel more comfortable. Sure. And that's what you're doing. You're creating an environment for young people, and then you're being that facilitator to go around and make those connections between people, which is awesome. Because that is one thing that age group very much struggles with because of COVID, because they were all stuck at home. Yeah. They were learning online. And
developmental years too.
Oh my God, crucial years. That like you have kids that are so smart and that are but they don't communicate with each other because they don't know how.
Yep. Yep.
So what you're doing is so very important when it comes to that, because that age group needs it so desperately.
Right. And I do want to say, like you say, it like comes natural to me. I very much have struggled with anxiety, self-doubt. And with what people think, that's one thing that at one certain point I was like, why did I pick doing what I do? Because I care so much about what people think, and the littlest thing can like paint you in a different light and like make you. But one thing I've also come to learn is that nobody thinks about you as much as you do.
That's a good point.
No, but so it's just one of those things. Everybody is their own complex person caring about their own life, so it's just one of those things. I had to kind of train myself to be like, not everybody hates you as soon as they see you. Not everybody thinks you're, just go up and talk to somebody, because I definitely did struggle with that. I struggled with, not feeling good enough, not feeling cool enough, not feeling like, I'm somebody that somebody wants to talk to.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up and clarified it, because I guess shame on me for assuming, right?
No,
because this happens to me all the time too.
Sure. Yeah.
Where I tell people I'm a social introvert and they're like, "No, you're not," but I really am. And, when I know people, totally comfortable. Light up a room. But when I don't, like I'm not someone to go break the ice or feel natural in those networking, those forced social events.
So I'll say if I'm by myself somewhere where I don't know anybody, it's a very different story. Right. I still try to like get myself involved, but as long as I have somebody there that I can riff off of and get energy from, and like be like a backup, I'm good. I could talk to anybody, especially my best friend Tony. He and I, whenever he's in town and we go to dinner, that's all we do is just like pick on our waitress, flirt with her, like just like give her, and she's always like, "You guys are the best table I've had all night," because we just make her laugh. And like, but if I'm by myself, like, or even somebody just different, I'm not like that.
Fair.
It just depends.
And I love that nobody thinks about you as much as you. And we have 2 boys and 1 daughter, and we go through this with our daughter. Right now she's 13, and I told her the other day, I'm like, Jenna, you could wear the same outfit 3 days in a row, and even your best friend wouldn't even notice.
No one would remember a week from today.
And like she's like, well, I just wore this last week, and I'm like, no one's noticing.
She got mad at me that I wore her a softball shirt. She goes, I wanted to wear that tomorrow. I go, well, why can't you? Like, what? Everybody will notice. I go, no, they
won't.
Not going to.
Yeah. They'll think that you guys have the same shirt.
Exactly.
If anything, like it's not.
One thing I loved about what you wrote up here is you are going to be passionate about this. So I'm excited. You said that, people say there's nothing to do here. And I can tell that hits a nerve with you.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
It's just, that just means you're not looking, okay, yes, we're a smaller city. We don't have like a Vegas strip where everything's right there. Like, I get it, but anything you can do anywhere, you can do here. You might have to, maybe you have to travel 5-10 minutes to do it, but it's just, there's so many events going on all the time, every day. And maybe because I work for KISS FM and I'm part of Catalyst and I'm at the forefront of like knowing what's going on. But like, we have an AHL team. And the soccer team. There's bars that do line dances. There's karaoke. There's a crap ton of restaurants that are just gorgeous and beautiful. Like,
The casino.
Yeah,
the golf,
there's live
the...
music
Stanley
happening.
Theater,
It's the
like,
Stanley, the
oh.
casino. We're the gateway to the Adirondacks. Go up there and hike. Big cities don't have that.
Sure.
You know, it's just there's always something to do here, and I just hate when people say that. Like it just means that you're purposely not looking. You're purposely. Can we swear?
Yeah, mildly.
Purposely shitting on the area just because you're from here. You know, like it's just I hate when people, you know, crap on Utica because it's a small city and like
Well, it's so funny when we started this.
Yeah.
We run a Hey Neighbor every week, and then most weeks we try to get a weekend buzz out there. And when we started talking about this, like, I don't know if it was Scott or me, one of us said, well, what if there's nothing going on one weekend? And I'm like, there's never a weekend where there's nothing going on. And until you put yourself in a space where you're looking for things to do, that's what people don't realize is there are some people that don't want to do anything. And that's fine. If you want to sit at home and you don't want to do anything, fine.
But don't complain about it.
Say that there's nothing to do. You just don't want to do anything.
You just don't want to do anything.
Exactly.
Or all you want to do is go out and drink.
Exactly.
Because that's one thing, like it's like, but, and I list all these things, like, oh, well, I don't want to do it. Well, that's what you do. Go out and be social. You know, like, it's just, you know, there's so much more to do with your life than to just hang out in a bar and get drunk with friends. Like, go try something new. There's so many clubs and organizations doing different things in this area. Like disc golf's getting big. Has anybody ever tried disc golf? It's awesome, you know? Yeah. So it's just, we have the outdoor skating rink now in the winter. You could do stuff, skiing, snowboarding. Like, what are you talking about? There's nothing to do. We have everything here.
I know.
For a small city.
Yep.
It's nuts.
I knew he'd be passionate about
I knew he would too.
Just want to,
Are you know? And I know you don't know what the future holds, but do you see yourself ever leaving? Or are you a lifer?
Look, for Utica?
Yeah.
No, I don't really see myself leaving because this is the area that I know. Yeah. I know it like the back of my hand, and I enjoyed growing up here. I would love to, you know, hopefully one day meet the right person. I have a 4-year-old son, but, you know, I would love to get married and, like, you know, have a good, like, family unit at some point. And I thought Sequoia was a great place to grow up, go to school. I'd actually prefer to raise my kids in a more rural area than in the crazy busy city, you know, and it's just, I think it shapes a better person than when you grow up and you want to go do that. But the one thing I noticed with a lot of friends that have moved away is that they come back.
Us.
Yep, we did that.
We did that.
I noticed it with a lot of people because it's just, you know, I get you want to move away and you want to experience a different place. I get that. I travel all the time to see new areas and things like that. But like my home base is always going to be here. This is where I know. This is where my family is. My friends are. And it's just when you move away and you meet someone and try to have a family without any family around, people realize it's really hard. Or people just end up realizing, hey, I miss being around my aunts, my uncles, my grandma, my mother and father. Like it's just innate. This is it's where you're from. It's home.
All right, very important question. We were in Sequoia last night.
Okay.
Is it Grandies or Grandes?
Grandes.
It's Grandes.
Yeah.
I hope our kids
My
aren't
kids
listening.
were right.
Grandes.
We had a whole family fight about this last
It was
night.
delicious, by the way.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
They're so good.
We were coming back from.
But we were saying one of our kids was not with us, and he's like, "Where's the pizza from?" Because we brought leftovers, and we're like Grandies, and the other one laughed. He goes,
they all
"It's
started
Grandes."
laughing at us.
See, they know.
Well, see, there you go. But I've got to say, it was delicious.
Yeah, they're so good.
All right, so tell us about Party of Five. You mentioned it
geez.
a little
Okay.
bit, but that's a fun thing.
It's a fun thing, yeah. So it's so I'm in a boy band.
That's great.
It's with 4 of my really good friends from Alfred State. It's kind of where it all started. It started off as a joke back then. Like, so it was just one thing that we did for one of the drama club's talent shows where we just lip synced to a One Direction song.
Okay.
Right? And people went nuts. Like, it was just really fun, you know. And we when we did it for a talent show, and then I told the guys, I was like, "Do you guys want to make just some music videos for fun?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." Because like I was in the digital media and animation program, I was learning all the filmmaking stuff, and music videos are kind of an easy way to, like, you take a song and you make a video to it, right? It was just kind of an easier thing to do. And we started making some videos just for fun, and we came up with that Party of 5 name. We started putting them out, and lo and behold, like, it started kind of spreading around the campus. Like, and when we were all together, people were like, "Oh, that's that boy band."
Oh my God,
so
that's great.
It was just really funny. And then what really kind of solidified it was Didi Dubois, which is one of the drag like a drag queen, but like the MC, she had like a thing where she would take some of her people down to colleges and like do little drag shows for fun, right? And basically all they do is they dress up and lip sync to a song and perform it, right? So I ended up being the DJ for that event when she or he, well, she
Whatever.
when she's in character,
Yeah.
right? David in real life. But so when Dee Dee came down, they did their show, and I, of course, had to like interact with her and like to plan all the songs and the set and this, that, and the other thing. And we just started talking about things, and some of my guys were with me, you know, because we all did everything together. This is like my core group of friends, the boy bands and our female friends that were with us and everything. So they were all there. And I remember Dee Dee saying something like, man, you guys are all like really handsome, something like that. It's like, oh yeah. She said something about like a boy band, like made a joke. I'm like, we actually are. No way.
Oh my
I'm
God.
like, yeah, we you know, we have some music videos. We lip sync to. I was like, can you guys do one of your songs at the end of the set? And we're like, sure. So we got up there and like afterwards, and everybody was still there, and some of the people knew who we were already, but we did. I think it was Kiss You by One Direction, where we had a little dance routine to it. And when I tell you, people went nuts. Like, it was crazy. Like, and we just had so much fun with it. And then Dee Dee's like, you guys got to come up to Rochester and perform at the club.
Well, that's great.
So we did. And we went up for one of their wild college night parties or whatever they did. And apparently, because they put us on the poster and said, we have a boy band coming, they ended up having more people at the club than they did at New Year's that night. And when we came on, like,
Wow.
when I tell you people erupted, like, we went out and people are, like, throwing money at us, and it was just, like, this whole thing. And that it just ended up being, like, you know, a night that we're never going to forget. Like, we
Yeah.
had so much fun that night, and people went crazy. And then we made more music videos. And then, you know, obviously, we all start graduating, and it kind of just was something that, you know, that was a fun thing. It kind of solidified our friend group. But every summer after we all graduated, we all still get together. To this day, every summer we have it's planned for August this year. We call it our Friends Union, or FU, just
There
because
you
it's our
go.
joke.
Yeah.
So that whole group of friends, we all get together every year, and it's just I very much cherish that group of friends. And when a few years back, I started getting into with some other people that are artists in the area, recording like music and doing some covers. And then my friends, you know, saw some of the stuff I was doing. And then when we got together that following summer, I went to the guys because they all come to that. And I was like, do you guys want to try to like actually sing, like, and actually make some real covers? Like, and they're like, yeah, why not? So then they all traveled, you know, we picked a weekend that March and we recorded 3 songs. And my producer, Ian Brown, or Alpha Audio Records in Syracuse, he's a wizard. He's so good. And when I tell you, when we finally got the final masters, like the mixes, I'm like, oh my God, these sound like legit.
Yeah.
And we made some really good music videos. I meet some really good videographers doing weddings, and I just have the guys come and shoot for me, and I direct it, and I take the footage and edit it together and everything. And if you guys go to my YouTube channel, Roscoe Red TV, you should find it really easily.
Cool.
They're all on there, Party 5, and then some of my other music videos where it's just me collaborating with other artists. But I'm very, very proud of how those turned out, and they're legit music videos, like professional quality, like and it's just really cool when I show people this. Like, people just don't believe it. It's really funny. So yeah.
So do you ever struggle with, because you're so multi-dimensional and faceted and talented, like, where do you want to go? Like, is there, to use a boy band pun, is there a One Direction?
Yeah.
You know, but is there?
Good. I
Oh,
like that.
Scott.
That was on the fly. Yeah. Thank you.
He's very proud of himself. He laughs at all of his own jokes. by
That's
the way.
right. Yeah, dad jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, what, you know, are you comfortable doing a whole bunch of things, or is there, you know, one place that you want to take your talents?
Honestly, like, the fact that I get to be one of the mainstays on the station I grew up listening to is in and of itself, like, it's, when I really think about it, sometimes it still gives me butterflies that, like, I was able to do that. I've gotten a lot of advice from people like, Kris, you got a lot of different talents. You should go this, you know, branch out, like, try a different area, this, that, and the other thing. But I don't know, when I really thought about what makes me happy is, like, my family makes me happy. And ultimately, the goal is to be a husband and a father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, stay out of the chase, man. You found it. You found what you're passionate about.
Well, and I
you
guess
have
what
it.
sparked that question was, you know, you started talking about the videographers and the editing and the music, and, you know, because I have to imagine that the nights, and now you talk about family and stuff, and the weddings run late and the weekends,
Yep.
and it probably gets old,
At times, yeah, it does,
exhausting,
yeah.
So is there like just a more structured, with music?
I mean, the music I just do for fun.
Yeah.
I just like making the music videos. And it's more of just like a creative outlet for me in a way, because there's only certain things I really get to make at the radio station as far as graphics and promotions. I don't really get to make a full-fledged music video like that. So that's why I kind of do that stuff on my own and just for fun. And it kind of builds my brand. Like, it gives people that are a fan of what I do more stuff to consume if they want,
Andy's a people person. I mean, these weddings,
can you
and
tell?
it's got to be like,
And
you
that's-
probably crave that interaction between an audience. And how do you play off of that?
Right.
Like, that's another thing. Like, what do you do with an audience that is just lame or not? Like, I'm sure that you have.
Don't name names.
Well, I'm not asking him to name names, but like, we know that like some weddings there are like the fun people, and then there's nobody is dancing and nobody is.
Luckily, like, and I was gonna branch into that. Like, weddings are, I have gotten to be my favorite event to do. A lot of DJs don't like doing them because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of pre-prep. It's a lot of molding your set to what they want, right?
Because it's their day.
Right.
And it will be remembered by them for forever.
Yeah. I love doing weddings because for some reason, I feel like I fit it perfectly. Like, what you need for a wedding is I can do it, And my favorite thing, what makes me sleep with a smile on my face, is when the bride and groom come up to me. My God, you killed it! Everybody can't shut up about how much fun they had. Or I get to be friends with a lot of my couples, and my friends Kayla and Kyle, who've become really good friends of mine. Their wedding was 8 years ago now,
That's
and
awesome.
they still say when they run into family and friends, "Oh, your wedding was so fun! Oh my God, we had so much. Our feet were sore the next day. We were dancing so much." And like, that's the kind of the bar I set for myself for weddings, is like, I want that party that, I want my brides and grooms to say, like, my wedding was the best out of all our
Nobody
friends.
remembers the food at a wedding.
Exactly.
Or the
Unless
table
it's bad.
settings
Yeah.
or the
Unless it's bad.
centerpiece.
Yeah.
Like,
You remember
it's
how much fun you had.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what I tell people when they're thinking about like what to do for their wedding, what to book, what not to book, and or what to spend money on and what not to spend money on. And I say, don't be stingy about your entertainment.
For sure.
You could be stingy about decorations. You
The
can
flowers.
have
They're
decent
gonna
food.
die.
The centerpieces.
Yeah,
No one cares about the
decorations. Even the venue, as long as your venue can fit everybody. Like most venues around here, they look nice without a lot of decorations because they're already decorated to some extent. Like you don't need to, spend all your money on all these different things just to impress people. Like, what's going to impress them is, are they going to leave like sweaty and like, oh my God, we had such a great. They're not going to remember any of the other stuff, So I hear a lot of horror stories from, people just got these DJs from who knows where that weren't engaged. They were maybe they just put on a playlist and they were outside smoking the whole time. Or they were just playing stuff that clearly was not clicking with the guests that they
That's
had.
right. Being able to change and to get people involved, for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, we talked about having fun. We talked about entertainment. We talked about serving the local community. You have an event coming up on May 31st.
Let's
talk about it.
For Catalyst, we're planning a volleyball tournament at 12 North.
Yep.
So you could go online to the Chamber's website and sign up. The best place to find the link for that, probably the Utica Chamber of Commerce website, and look at their events and look for Volley in the Valley is what we called it. We're looking for, I believe, 12 teams. We got a few already, but, we're in the final push, and I know people in this area like to sign up for things last minute. So I'm pretty sure we're going to get, enough teams by the time we get to the 31st. But if you like to play volleyball, especially at 12 North, I mean, that's a huge thing there. You got a team, you want to win some cool prizes and an awesome trophy, sign up for it. I'll be there hosting pretty much the whole day too. So we'll have a good time. Yeah. And we got a lot of different events coming up for Catalyst this summer. We got the clam bake coming up, then our big Jingle Jam, Christmas benefit,
Nice.
in the winter. So a lot of cool things.
Where is the best place for people to know what you know as far as what's going on in the area?
Follow my Instagram, because I post anything that I'm involved with. I'll post on my story. Follow the Utica Chamber of Commerce. They're posting everything all the time. Follow Utica Catalyst. That's our group that anything we're involved with or know of that's going on, we post on our story. And it's just a matter of, and then you'll find other avenues through those. But those are kind of the main things. Follow Kiss FM too.
Yeah.
We're posting stuff all the time. CNY Kiss on all social media. Yeah.
We gonna rapid fire them?
Rapid fire them.
Let's
All
go.
right. Most requested song at a wedding that you secretly love or hate?
Would probably be, and I mean, these are my go-tos anyway, but like Low by Flo Rida, apple bottom jeans,
Yeah.
boots with the, that's
Good one.
classic. One of my go-tos that it works for any event, and I'll say this till I die, wedding, school dance, it doesn't matter, is Party in the USA. Miley Cyrus.
Miley Cyrus.
Everybody always knows it. Everybody always gets out there,
So,
puts their hands up.
We were away for spring break,
Yep.
and we were in the airport in Fort Lauderdale,
Yep.
waiting at our gate, and the airport
Music.
had that song on, and this group of girls
Yep.
came down with
I
their
see.
suitcases,
Doesn't matter.
hands in the air,
Yep.
First thing in the morning,
Oh
and
my
the
God,
whole
that's
crowd, like just
awesome.
partying.
Yep.
Yeah.
at the
Wedding
airport.
60th birthday
Yep.
party, middle
Yeah.
school dance. Everybody will get on their feet for it.
So, is there one song or one moment that either made you want to be a DJ or think this could be for you? Like, what was there that moment?
I could tell you the exact
Okay.
moment, and it was Hot Dog Day.
Oh my God, that's
So,
funny.
For people who don't know, for Alfred State, Hot Dog Day is like our school's end of the year, like big, carnival, celebration. And both Alfred State and Alfred University team up for it, and we just have everything along Main Street, right in the middle of the two schools. That's all that town is the two schools. You drive in, Alfred State's up to the right on the hill, and Alfred University's up to the left. All sorts of vendors and everything are going on Main Street, and it was my junior year. So my second to last year, where we caught finally a nice day, because it was Hot Dog Day was like plagued with it. We were always catching a rainy day, and so we finally had a beautiful 75-degree sunny day where everybody and their mother was out on Main Street, and I was part of the WETD, which was the school's radio station, and they were kind of the main source of like audio for any school event. So they had a big tent right there in the center of everything, playing music, and they wanted me to come down. Like, they were having all the kids on the station like come down for an hour and host or play music or whatever. So I went down and I was just on the mic. And another one of my friends was actually DJing. And when I tell you, I got probably a half mile long of the road, like all dancing to the wobble. Like, I just got everybody going. The whole street was just full of people dancing, and I was out there interacting with everybody, and people were just going nuts. And then we had dance circles, and I was in the dance circle, and I was just like getting and that's where I kind of realized, like, oh, this is like a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, everybody's coming up and high five me. You're awesome, man. So that just kind of made me realize, like, maybe I have a knack for like working a crowd, get people on their feet. And then over time, I've just developed that and taught myself how to mix. So now, before I was mostly kind of the hype guy, and I would just kind of play music that auto faded, but I taught myself over the years how to mix. Now I really like get into the ones and twos when I DJ, and like,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
So
Well, so you said you do weddings, you do all these events. What's your favorite venue or unique venue in Utica that you love?
I would have to say, and I haven't been there in a while, is Tug Hill Vineyards, which
Okay.
is
Where's
is
that?
up. It's up in like the Port Leyden area, like up north. It's small, but it's gorgeous up there. I really like what my bosses did with Breezes. Like, it's still relatively new. Breezes Banquet and Event Center is gorgeous in there. And now they have Portofino as well. They redid all that. Two beautiful venues. I really like the Lodge at the Turning Stone. That's a good place to DJ. It's a really good setup in there. And then I think it's called Three Willows. That's also up north. Like when you're driving up towards Boonville and there's like the Boondocks restaurant, it's behind that.
Okay.
And that's a beautiful big wedding. You wouldn't even see it because it's like in the back of the building
Yeah.
down the hill. But that's a Three Willows. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. That's a beautiful venue too.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned Portofino, and it reminded me that we never got to the.
Oh, yeah,
Superfly Fridays.
Yeah, so talk about that.
Yeah,
real quick.
Superfly Friday. It's something we cooked up in the past couple months that we've been doing that. It's basically a big group of all like the Kiss FM affiliated DJs. So myself, Brandon C, DJ Ease One, M Dub on the beats. You got D King is in the mix there, DJ Business, and we all have been kind of just rotating. I at least get one a month, I think, is what I've been doing. But it's kind of just more so to be like, get people in the door at Portofino. They got drink specials, and it's a very laid back, like, come and chill. Like, it's a chill vibe. People dance, but it's more of like we kind of focus on like the hip hop and the like the neo soul type of music and that sort of thing. It's kind of like a 70s Bruno Mars Silk Sonic type of vibe that we try to go for. That's cool. And yeah, it's been a nice event. It's been steadily growing. People have been, it's getting on people's radars, and people have been just kind of coming in, and you just chill, have a drink.
That's every Friday?
Every Friday. From
year round.
Yeah, well, it's only been going a couple months. Hopefully, we can keep it going and have it build.
Just want to make sure it wasn't.
Yeah, right now it's going on every Friday, and I was just there last Friday, the 16th, and I was still waiting to see when the June schedule is coming out. Cool. But hopefully, the warmer it gets, that we can start doing them on the patio that overlooks the water at Portofino. Yeah,
it is a great venue.
Yeah,
you do career days. Obviously, you're giving back through the chamber. What's when you talk to younger kids? What's the advice you give them?
Try things. If something interests you and piques your interest, try it. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be sitting here and I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
All right, I got a fun one.
Yeah.
What's the most embarrassing on-air moment you've had so far?
Luckily, the night show is pre-recorded, so if I do something, if I do something that's really that bad, yeah. Well, it's not edited, but like if you really mess up a break, you just delete it and redo it. So I have been live. Luckily, nothing too embarrassing has happened. I mean, I've had a couple of breaks where I really stumbled through it, and I was like, "Oh God, I sound like I'm an idiot." And
no one noticed.
It probably
back to your whole
probably nobody noticed, but no. Luckily, nothing. Like you have that safety net on the air, which is nice. So yeah.
All right, Utica's best kept secret.
The only thing I can really think of is like disc golf's getting big. So if anybody's
where is that?
They have an 18-hole course out in Rome on the Griffiths base. So that's something I've picked up in the last couple of years, and I really enjoy. And it's it's like golf, but instead of hitting a ball at a hole, you're throwing a frisbee. at a basket. Yeah. So, but same thing. You drive, you putt. Yeah. It's all the same.
It's a good workout too.
Yeah, it is. It's like they like going for hikes, especially. Yeah. It's like a hike where you get to throw frisbees. Like it's really cool. So, I like it a lot.
Bring us home, Kyle. One more.
All right. Good restaurant to go to. I mean, we're famous for our food.
Yeah. Obviously, go try Portofino. It's still relatively new, and I think a lot of people still haven't been in there yet. Mike makes some delicious Italian dishes. They're phenomenal. And they also, for lunch, they make burgers and things like that. I very much enjoy Ocean Blue and Nostro. I've always loved those restaurants, especially Nostro now is one of my favorites. I really like Silk, the dessert bar that just opened up. Their stuff is
been there yet.
We have not been there yet, but we've been to the
delicious and very unique. It's just fun in there. And then I guess all-time classic favorite restaurant is Carmela's. I love Carmela's.
Oh, that's great.
You can't beat them. Yeah.
Man, I'm almost 50, and we used to go there like after high school dances back in
for sure.
the 90s. So.
And I have to shout out Voss's.
Yeah.
Voss's is nostalgic for me, and it's I love this time of year. They just opened, so like right after Easter they open, and
that's when spring is here.
Yeah.
When they take the picnic tables down and they open up, you're like, yes.
I love Voss's. The chili cheese dogs are to die for. So. So shout out Val at Voss's, yeah.
Kris Majka, I'm glad they changed you from Kris to DJ Roscoe Red. It all worked out.
Yeah,
but,
it's funny that the alternate idea was Kris with a K, DJ Kris with a K.
Yeah,
but Roscoe Red.
I like
Cross
Roscoe
was
Red.
the thing when hip hop when I was growing up with the K's. But
Roscoe Red's a lot more memorable and fun. Yeah.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you for having me, guys.